All right. Well, I want to welcome everyone and thank you for joining us here today. It is quite the honor here to have Ken Hecht with us from the National STEM Honor Society. This is a wonderful opportunity for students from um, kindergarten on to career to really get involved into those fields of science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and not just thinking about STEM as something that sits alone within a science classroom, but really thinking about how does this integrate across the other content areas and how does this become meaningful and useful. So today we're going to hear from Ken, share some stories, share some success, and really to explain why the National STEM Honor Society is so important for schools and for children to become involved from all walks of life. And this is something that as we use this word STEM, we want to be able to put in a child's tool belt those success criteria in order for them not just to be successful in school, but to be successful in life. So what does STEM really look like? We want to change this from being just this acronym to having much more meaning, much more in depth, so that when students are grasping this concept, they're looking at it through this lens of awe and wonder, looking at it to say, how do I become a champion? How do I use this in my day-to-day life? And so this is really the fundamental transformation. So why are we doing this particular webinar first? Because it's the start of a new school year. This is a great opportunity for schools and districts and for students to really get involved into that learning. So I don't want to take away any of Ken's thunder. So I want to pass it over to Ken because this is a great time for us to learn and to have that opportunity to grow from this. So Ken, without further ado, take it away.
Thank you, Kelly, so much. I'm thrilled to be here. And for everybody out there, hello, my name is Ken Hecht. I'm president of the National STEM Honor Society. What we're going to do today is really, the primary thing we normally like to do is sit with top STEM educators and understand, what their goals are, where they are today, where they want to go, and then see how the National STEM Honor Society can fit in with that. Unfortunately, this is not, that much of an interactive type of thing. So I thought what I'd do is I would jump right into the presentation that we give to educators across the country. And I think you'll find it hopefully fast-paced. I'm going to talk fast, and so get ready to take some notes. And if you don't mind, I'm going to share my screen right now and see what we can do about getting the show on the road. There we go. All right. So Kelly, can you see that screen?
I sure can.
Great. Pop quiz, everybody. Are you ready? What is Nike's slogan? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just do it. And Nike's slogan is just do it. Ours is from K to career. Think of it like sports. Think of it like a sports team. Think about two teams that are, high school soccer teams. One high school soccer team starts their kids playing soccer in freshman year of high school. The other soccer team starts their kids playing soccer in kindergarten. I know which one I'm betting on. I'm betting the one that starts in kindergarten. That's what we're doing with STEM. In a nutshell, that is what we're doing with STEM, from K to career. So our mission here, as you can see, is to inspire innovation and recognize student excellence from K to career in the STEM fields. This is an induction ceremony of an elementary school down in Atmore, Alabama, Rachel Patterson Elementary School. And you can see they pulled out all the stops. It's just fantastic. We go from elementary, middle, high school, college, and on to career. And STEM from the start. That's really, really important. And these kids and parents get all excited about these induction ceremonies. It's really important to understand the feeder nature of the program. It's just like sports, where you want to start early and go all the way through all the schools. What we do is we break up elementary school into K to 2 and 3 to 5, because the distance in terms of learning and teaching of a first grader to a fifth grader is just too broad. So we go K to 2, 3 to 5, middle school, high school, and college and university. The other thing about this, in addition to the feeder nature of the program, the feeder nature, just like sports, is that we look very much at personas. Like, what is the persona? What are the characteristics? What's the high school teacher feeling and going through? What is the high school student going through? In that case, with the high school teacher and student, they're pretty much aligned because they're looking for recognition. They're looking for project-based learning. There's some anxiety. They're trying to figure out what to do. Am I going to go to college? What college am I going to go to? Am I going to go out into the real world? So there's a lot of stuff going on there. And I think we can really help there in terms of helping them clarify what they want to do with their lives. Juxtapose those personas with the first grade teacher. Elementary school teachers in general, 80% are women. So she is probably not a physics major or a biochem major, probably more like an elementary ed major. So one of our key challenges with the elementary school teacher, to bring this all the way back from K to career, is to help that elementary school teacher gain the confidence that they can teach STEM in their classrooms. Bring it into your classroom. Bring project-based learning into your classroom, even though you don't have any kind of a science degree. And that first grade child, the first grade student, is just a sponge wanting to know all about what's going on here. They're just bouncing off the stuff, looking for things that are interesting to them. What an incredible opportunity for us to expose those kids, those young kids, to STEM. So that's really what this is all about, from K to career. Then what we usually do is with the educators, and we'd be happy if you wanted to reach out to us, and we'd be happy to get with you on a video call and go through your school. But we really want to know what's going on with the state of STEM at your school. So that's really where we start. What is the state of STEM at your school? And then what can we do to help? We are a chapter-based society. So every school has a chapter. So every elementary, every middle school, every high school, every college has a chapter. And every chapter has a chapter advisor. Now, the chapter advisor we call the STEM champion. They're like the coach. They're the football, the soccer, the basketball coach, but only for STEM. So really, one of the key things, if you want a good soccer team, get a good soccer coach. If you want a great STEM, National STEM Honor Society chapter, get a great chapter advisor or advisors. So there can be co-advisors, tri-advisors, we've got schools that have 5 chapter advisors. The other thing that comes with these chapters is the title Director, National STEM Honor Society, and that's for the principal of the school. Now, the chapter advisor does most of the work with the kids, but the principal of the school gets the title chapter head of chapter. This is a chapter down in Phoenix City Elementary School down in Alabama, and they were on NBC. Honest to God, they were on NBC with their induction ceremony, and it was a rock concert. Fantastic. So what does it take to be National STEM Honor Society? I'm going to move this window here a little bit if I can. Okay. So what are the minimum requirements for being a member, for a student member? The first column, as you can see, well, on the left side, you can see the different grade levels that we talked about a little bit earlier in the feeder nature of the program. The first column then in the black headings is GPA and STEM classes only. And it's a 3.0 out of 4. It's a B average or the equivalent of. We're trying to make this so that this is very inclusive. We want to have the kids to be able to reach up and ring this bell and get excited and get into the National STEM Honor Society and really get into project-based learning and the things we'll talk about. So as part of that, what we have done is we've made the GPA for the last grading period only. We do not want kids to be held back by a cumulative GPA. We only want it to be for the last grading period. Column 2 is the annual STEM classroom hours. This is science and math. And generally, schools across the US in general have about 180-day school year. So you can see these are fractions of 180. And typically the STEM student makes these with some ease in terms of the classroom hours. And the third and most exciting column is the project-based enrichment hours annually. So columns 2 and 3, the STEM classroom hours and the project-based enrichment hours, are a 12-month look back. And a lot of the kids in a lot of the schools that we work with, basically they already meet these requirements, and others are really need to work to get into these requirements. But many of the kids that probably are in your classes right now already have the qualifications to be achieved. So they could literally get this, recognition in, November, December this year for the spring semester and over the last year. So let's move on to your, oops. There we go. And what we know is that everyone on here is an educator, has been an educator. Teachers are busy. That's a fundamental thing. Everybody knows it. So what we tried to do in terms of the requirements is the first requirement is GPA and STEM classes only. That's pretty easy to ascertain. Second column is the classroom hours, STEM classroom hours. That's pretty easy to ascertain. What we want to do is have the educators, the STEM champions, Spend the time with the kids in the project-based learning enrichment. That's where the fun happens. That's where the real learning happens. That's where the kids and the teachers, they have the most fun. Everything's really rocking in project-based learning. We are an honor system for all learners. This is the Bright Horizon Academy Islamic School of San Diego. They're a middle school. They're a chapter of ours. Black, brown, girls, LGBTQ+, all races, all creeds, all religion. We are not an elitist society. We want to get the most kids into the National STEM Honor Society as we can and still be an honor society. We have a constitution and bylaws. Of course, the Constitution never changes. The bylaws are flexible and there are ways to change them. For example, if a really top-notch STEM school said, well, listen, at 3.0, we really want to bump that up to a 3.2 as our minimum. They could do that within the bylaws. I'm not saying they should, but they could do that. Next is recognition. I wanted to go through the benefits and value proposition a little bit. There's really 5 benefits. There's recognition, project-based learning, resources, future readiness, and leadership. Recognition, everybody thinks about it in high school, National Honor Society, that type of thing. But with the National STEM Honor Society, the kids can get National STEM Honor Society in kindergarten. Then they get it in 1st grade. Then they get it in 2nd grade, 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade. And sometime after I probably leave the planet, somebody's going to run the table and get it all the way from kindergarten all the way through college. Now, if the student does National STEM Honor Society just from kindergarten through high school, by the end of high school, they will have had a half of a working year of project-based learning under their belt. Now, how would you like to have that kid going to your college or coming to work at your company? Be amazing, right? So recognition is super important. What we find is that in elementary and middle school, the parents go crazy. The uncles, the aunts, and everyone, the whole recognition part is really, it's really a family thing. The second one is project-based learning. You're all familiar with project-based learning. Of course, you're on a STEM webinar right now. But what we really think is that when you combine the book learning with the project-based learning, 1 + 1 = 10. And we have 3 axioms for our project-based learning. Number 1, we want the student to have a seat at the table of picking the project-based learning project that they do. Let them put a hand on the steering wheel and they will be much more excited, much more interested if they're in that decision-making process. Number 2, what we want to do is to have this almost be called problem-based learning, where we want the kids to solve local, regional, national, and international problems. They get even more excited. They come home for dinner and they're like, how was school today, to the 5th grader who's in the National STEM Honor Society? Well, we're working on the flooding problem in Louisiana and New Orleans. Really? That's what we're doing at the National STEM Honor Society. How cool is that? So we want it to be problem-based learning. And number 3, we want the older kids to help the younger kids. We want those high school kids to help the middle school kids. We want the high school and the middle school kids to help the elementary school kids. When a high school kid walks into an elementary or a middle school, they are like God. They're like almost a man and almost a woman. And they're just like, the younger kids are so impressed. So we really we give project-based learning hours for kids when they mentor others. Very important, very important. And next there's resources. So we have the National STEM Honor Society, when you become a member on our website, has thousands of resources that we've curated, all STEM. It's STEM scholarships, STEM grants, PD, continuing education, curriculum, robots, drones, all this stuff. And what's really cool is it's sortable by type of resource, state, and grade level. So you can go Missouri, robots, high school, and they all pop up. You can go Indiana, drones, elementary school, and they all pop up. So we've maintained this. It took us 5 years to put this together, and it's an amazing resource section. And in addition, right now it has over $300 million worth of STEM scholarships and grants on it right now, $300 million worth. And of course, what this is all about is future readiness. I was on with Project Lead the Way a couple of months ago, and the fellow I was on said, Ken, do you know what the average starting salary is for a college graduate? I'm like, not off the top of my head. He said, $54,000. Do you know the average starting salary for someone with a STEM degree coming out of college? I said, I don't know. $104,000. From $54,000 to $104,000 is the starting salary gap in terms of if you have that STEM degree. So future readiness, what does it do? A STEM degree and a STEM education can change not only the trajectory of that individual, but it can change the trajectory of that individual's family. And it can change the trajectory of that individual community as they go back into the community with that STEM degree and that STEM education, starting their own companies and stuff. Very exciting. And finally, leadership. So the National STEM Honor Society is not only about STEM education, which it is, but it's about leadership. It's about having the kids become better leaders. And here's how we do it. Each chapter has chapter officers. So each chapter has a president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer. See this little girl right here in the middle? Imagine she's the 5th grade president of her elementary school chapter of the National STEM Honor Society. And the teachers, we know they're busy. And what we try to do is have the teachers understand that they're actually chapter advisors. They're not there to do the work. They have the kids do everything. So what happens is you might talk to this young lady in the middle here and say, would you mind, you're the president, would you mind making an agenda for next month's meeting? Well, what's an agenda? Well, that's you have a plan for what you're going to do. Oh yeah, I can do that. Fantastic. So our kids, they get all this leadership experience as well as STEM education experience. In addition, each chapter of each school can have an advisory council. So this is interested parents, local engineers. It can be all kinds of doctors or nurses or people from the manufacturing place in the area. There's a lot of companies that want to get involved. STEM's the biggest thing going. There are a ton of people that want to sponsor, get involved with STEM. And in fact, it's a pretty good fundraising opportunity to have these outside folks come and actually sponsor project-based learning and such. Much like Patagonia and Ben & Jerry's ice cream, we are a benefit corporation. So that is a for-profit corporation with social purposes. And these are our 3 social purposes. Number 1, community and connectivity. Let's please visualize with me a 1st grade girls soccer game going on, right? And the parents are on the sidelines and the girls, they mistakenly score a goal in the wrong goal and they think they won the World Cup and they're having a blast. And the parents are cutting up on the sidelines. And what happens? There's a community is formed. The kids are playing together on Saturdays. The parents get to know each other. They have play dates with soccer. They're kicking a soccer ball in the backyard. We want that for STEM. We want that to be for robotics in kindergarten, with drones in the backyard, with all kinds of experimentation going on with the parents and with the kids. That's what we want. We want to build that community early, kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade, where it starts. Number 2, environmental sustainability. We are literally born out of an environmental nonprofit up here. We're up in Boston. And it is seaside sustainability. So it's very important to us. We literally are born out of a sustainability nonprofit. And number 3, IDEA, inclusion, diversity, equity, and access. Incredibly important to us. You'll see in just a second. And what leads right into that is what the investment is or what the cost of it is of a National STEM Honor Society chapter. So to be a chapter for an entire year, for an entire school, is a whopping $295. So really what that's meant to do is to make sure that all 132 schools in the United States from K through high school can have a National STEM Honor Society chapter. So it's inclusive. So there's access, there's inclusion, and that's really what we're after. Some people ask, is that $295 per student? And we're like, no, that's for a chapter. That's for an entire school for an entire year. We have our own awards and scholarships. As you can imagine, there's the best chapter of the year, the best chapter advisor of the year, the best project-based learning of the year, that type of thing. And we have a couple of small scholarships that we want to build over time. Starting a chapter is easy. You just go to the website. The hardest part is really making sure that you get that chapter advisor right, or advisors. Get the chapter advisor right. And then when you go to the website to sign up, it's a piece of cake. This is Notre Dame Prep down in Scottsdale, Arizona. We love this little thing in the lower left corner here is they came up with, on each of those gears is the name of one of their National STEM Honor Society chapter students. And when you turn one gear, they all turn. And we thought that was just such creativity. So we wanted to show you that. So starting a chapter is easy. You just go to the website. And member care, we have a member care department. So all the time. We're hand holding, we're sending videos, we're sending how to do your National STEM Honor Society chapter, how to really get the most out of it, how to help the kids the most. We're really trying to help as many kids in STEM as possible, as quickly as possible across the country and eventually the world. That's really our goal. And to that end, each chapter advisor has their own dashboard. Now, when you go to the dashboard after you become a member, there, if you did everything on that list, you would have an Olympic caliber chapter, which we hope you do. But what you want to do is walk before you run, look at the things that you want to do, and have your chapter go that direction. But there's a tremendous roadmap for you to have a very successful chapter. And in addition, each student has their own dashboard, how to be the best National STEM Honor Society student, the best STEM student, the best student of character, etc. So it's really quite guided. Merchandise and chapter member types of things. You can see that we've got cords and certificates and pins and hats and hoodies and shirts. The kids love this stuff, particularly the cords and the certificates when it comes time for May or in December. But what a lot of the schools do, and what we recommend, is in the lower left corner, you've got the banner, which is also over my left corner, my left shoulder right here. You put your school name on it, and you put it in the lobby, and all the kids go by it and they're like, wow, we've got a National STEM Honor Society chapter. Who's running that show? Is that Mrs. Smith or Mr. Murphy? What's going on? So really important, and the kids really get into it. Executive leadership. I'm Ken Hecht. I'm president. I'm from the south side of Chicago. I'm one of 5 kids, and my father was a Chicago fireman and a carpenter. And I happen to be good at science and math. I went to the University of Illinois in Champaign-Urbana. Turned out to be this unbelievable engineering school. Who'd have thought? I had no idea. As a result, I really am coming in from the engineering point of view. Eric Majors, our founder, he 20-year teacher, schools outside of Boston, up here in the suburbs. And he was, in 2014, he was National Sustainability Teacher of the Year. Went to the White House twice to get the award directly from the Secretary of Education. So this is he's the mad scientist behind all this. He's way into project-based learning, way into internships and all the kids, and it's really fantastic. Our advisory council, as you can see, we've got Kelly. Kelly's the latest member of our advisory council. We're very happy to have her. And you can see that we've got 2 African-American women, 2 Hispanic men. So we're very into the underserved. We've got the Thurgood Marshall Center Trust. We've got Kelly and STEM Leadership Alliance, STEM Atlanta Women. We've got Tech Latino. We're really we serve some of the top schools in the country for STEM, but our hearts are with the underserved. We're with the underserved. Our accreditation and partners, we're accredited by STEM.org, and we've got a bunch of great partners. iRobot, Tech Latino, Latino STEM Alliance, Thurgood Marshall, STEM Atlanta Women, etc. We've got more coming on all the time. Internships, we are a cauldron for project-based learning. We have 130 interns right now from all over the world that run our 9 departments. And it's just an amazing project-based learning experience. They could be running social media, human resources, video production, chapter development, media relations. It's unbelievable. And it's about 70% female girls, about 60 to 70% of color, and from all over the world. And boy, are they smart. And thank you. And Kelly, that is it. I wanted to know if anyone, I don't know if anyone has any questions or if I can help anyone in that direction. I'd be happy to take any questions.
Conversation.
So as I said to everybody, if there's any Q&A, just please post it into the chat room. But in the meanwhile, I did have a question that just kind of came to mind for me.
Yeah.
Is, businesses are always looking for STEM, right? But they don't really clearly define this. This is one of those things that could actually be a criteria for people to understand that it's more than just STEM that occurs in science, but STEM across the disciplines. Have you had any conversations with businesses just about the importance of this type of recognition?
Oh, absolutely. The businesses are all excited, not only about, there's such a competition for STEM graduates and for students. Kelly, I know you're helping us in this area to have an integrated STEM approach. to integrate STEM into English and the other social sciences, which really allows kids to communicate and to bring STEM into their, as opposed to having someone say, what happened on your summer vacation? Have them write, a paper on something very STEMmy, so that, we can have these crossovers that I know you're really big into. But really the companies, they're so starved for STEM graduates that we've got a lot of companies now that are looking to sponsor, National STEM Honor Society chapters in their communities, because they want to build their labor pool. They want to build the talent pipeline desperately, because the supply of STEM graduates is far below the demand for STEM graduates. It's amazing. So there's a huge support network, and there's a lot of chatter among the corporations about this right now. Yes. Are there any other questions that I can?
Sorry, I was trying to, I think I'm having a little issue with the chat box there. So I was trying to figure that out at the moment as well too. Let me just see here. So something else why I'm trying to work on that, that I was thinking about was, just like with the National Honor Society, this is something that is recognized, especially at a high school, middle school, high school, college level sort of thing. And so has there, especially as we get into, well, even middle school, high school, and especially with college, is there any ideas or thoughts about internships and possibilities down the road around that?
Well, there's a couple of ways to look at that. One is to come and intern for the National STEM Honor Society. So that door is wide open. And we're qualified by, I think that we've got about 1,300 colleges and universities.
Enough money to pay all the expenses and then go beyond.
That when people come and intern at the National STEM Honor Society, there's about 1,300 colleges and universities across the country that do it for credit. We have not been active.
That was my sense of humor. And a little bit.
Hey, I got
Quote from the producers.
Yeah, that's correct.
I think I'm
Okay, I
getting a little
think I
bit
got it available so that everybody can, wait a minute, here we go. Everybody should now be able to chat with everybody.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so I think we have that. How does a school or district sustain the STEM momentum?
Well, I think that it's one year after the next. There's two kinds of momentum, right? The first is that you want to have momentum in the feeder nature of the program. So you want to have elementary, middle, high school, college. You don't want to have a middle school chapter and not an elementary and not a high school. You want to have that momentum so that when kids get out of the elementary school, they can continue right into middle. When they get done with middle, they can continue right into high school and keep racking up, the recognition and the inspiration. That's one thing. And then the commitment to it at the elementary or middle or high school or college level as well is where you want to have that momentum. We've got one of the Parsippany Hills High School in New Jersey had about, I think, 30 or so members this past year. And their goal is to get 90 or 100 this next year upcoming. So really it builds right inside itself. As the word gets out, more kids want to be involved. And then it makes more kids become members of the National STEM Honor Society. And then they create this track to run on, which now they're really into it. They're doing the project-based learning. They're doing all kinds of cool stuff. And it's getting a lot of notoriety in the schools. And there's a lot of sort of induction ceremony hoopla going on. And it really becomes attractive. And that's really what builds the momentum. It's really word of mouth inside the schools.
So I apologize again, I do have some background noise here. So of course, every time you want to do a webinar, they always have those blowers going or some sort of background noise. So the easiest way for a school that's interested is just to contact you directly. And then And how many hours is actually involved for a teacher to lead this?
Well, that's a good question. I think that, the whole, if you approach this as a chapter advisor from that you want this to be a leader, a STEM and a leadership experience for your kids, that you want them, you truly want to be an advisor. And we don't want our chapter advisors to get in the position where they're doing everything. We want them to have, the kids, the officers and the top people in the chapter to really manage and manage the chapter. So there's no doubt that it should be someone who's excited about it. And it's no doubt that it's a time commitment, but Kelly, I honestly don't have an hour figure for you. I think some chapter advisors, do it very efficiently in terms of their own time by getting the kids much more involved and running the chapter. And then I think then there's also the chapter advisor that wants to do a lot of everything themselves, and really pull it all together themselves. And we tend to want the kids to get that leadership experience. We want the teachers, we want the educators to really do delegation and look at these kids as sort of interns that are going to be learning. The more you allow them to do in leadership, the more they're going to learn, and they're going to learn in leadership as well as in STEM. Really important to us. Are there any other questions from anyone? I think I can I hear everybody right now?
One other question what would a day in the National STEM Honor Society look like for a student?
Right. What would happen is they'd be going to class and they'd know that when they were sitting in class, they were fulfilling their STEM classroom hours and really knowing that applies to them getting into the National STEM Honor Society. But I think that the most exciting part about the National STEM Honor Society to the student is the project-based learning track that we provide to run on. So that when they know that after school today, they're doing robots, they're doing drones, they're doing sustainability, they're doing wind turbines, whatever it is they're doing, they're floating little boats in kindergarten. The kids just sit up in their chair and, the adrenaline can start squirting out of these kids' ears. It's just really fantastic. So I would say that, they go along their normal day in classroom, working on their studies in the regular book studies. But then when it comes to the project-based learning, that's when the action happens. And if you're not doing project-based learning, the jobs are, we don't even know what the jobs are going to be in 5 or 10 years. So really, the project-based learning is so important because the kids that don't really understand how to solve problems and to go at project-based learning, they got a chance of getting run over by a truck when they got out of school. This is just so important. The kids that have that project-based learning and that excitement about bring on the problem. What is it? Let's get it solved. What are we going to do? Let's figure this thing out. Those are the ones that are really going to have a lot of fun in life and, solve a lot of problems and be in super high demand. Can I ask what areas of the country people are from? If you want to either say where you're.
Yep, if people just want to either type that in.
Yeah. Oh, Connecticut. Okay, right down the street. Thank you.
And
Florida.
Florida. Is
Yeah,
this also something, Ken, that you've done globally at all?
You know what? We chose Florida. We've got Fort Lauderdale High down in Florida and a couple other schools as well in Broward County, down in Broward. We wanted to go. We chose Nigeria and Thailand for our international first expansion, and we've got interest from around the world. But honestly, we're so busy domestically in the U.S. with chapters. There's just so much to do here that we didn't want to water down our efforts. And so really right now we're focused, and this is a conscious decision. Right now we're focused on Pakistan. Love it. Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, I love it. So one day we've spoken with people in Pakistan and India and South America, Europe. I mean, all over Africa. And there will be a time, but right now we're just really, really focused on the US, but it's coming, definitely coming.
But in order to prepare for that, Ken, is there things that these countries can actually start to do to maybe start to get into alignment so that, you know, when there's the thought of global expansion, as, you know, as discussed, then countries like Pakistan and the Philippines and other countries that are going to see this, things that they could be doing to maybe gear up towards that?
Absolutely. We'd be happy to share everything we've got right now, you know, and if, listen, if in Pakistan, if you wanted to start a chapter, we'd be happy to start a chapter. It's just that we're not really focused on it right now. But you know, I think that there's probably going to be, between now and the end of the year, 1 or 2 chapters that are international. It's just, they know, they've heard about us, they've talked to us, and they want to do it. You know, we've got one of our chapter development advisors is in the Caribbean. She lives in the Caribbean. So really, I wouldn't doubt that we'll have chapters, well, definitely before the end of the year, we'll have chapters in the Caribbean, which would be our sort of one of our first forays. But anyone who wants to start a chapter around the world can start a chapter, and we'll support them. And even if it's pre-chapter, if they want to contact me and I can bring them through this presentation, I can, you know, probably give them access to our databases, and we can give them access to our website and all of our resources. So we're here to get the job done. We want to help these kids. We want to help as many kids in STEM as we can, as quickly as we can. And whatever it takes to do that is what we're going to do. So anybody can reach out and ask me anything you want, and we'll share everything we've got. Well, that's really fantastic. I appreciate that. I look forward to hearing from you. And Amber, your question, will we see at the STEM Leadership Alliance Summit 2023? Absolutely. I thought 2022 was amazing in July. I mean, just fantastic. It was about, you know, what's great about it is it's really excited educators. And there's about 300 of them. And it was, at times, it was like a football game or something, where there was cheering and the crowds and the different school districts and the different municipalities and cities. It was just a blast. And you know, so many great speakers and so much great programming. So you know, to us, you know, STEM Leadership Alliance is an annual thing, and we're gonna, you know, we'll be bringing more people as well every year. We'll keep building our attendance there, and we're going to be promoting it. So for the next 10 months, the National STEM Honor Society and Kelly and Amber are going to be working together to you know, do social media posts on it and to grow that conference, which is incredibly worthwhile.
Well, this is terrific. And Ken, I want to thank you. I want to thank the National Honor Society for doing the work that you're doing. You provided your information in the chat room as well. So I'm just going to do a copy and paste one more time in case I didn't have it working properly before. So I'm just pasting that. And I do encourage everyone to check out their website as well. Reach out to Ken directly. And again, for anyone who wasn't able to participate and you're viewing this as a live recording now, again, do not hesitate to reach out to the National Honor Society. And Ken's contact email is hechtk@nstem.org. So it stands for National STEM. So N as in Nancy, STEM.org. So don't hesitate to reach out to him. And again, we're going to be providing these kind of webinars on an ongoing monthly basis. We'll be sending out the calendar so that you can sign on board. And we're also going to be sharing these webinars on our website too. So in case anybody missed it, you want to share it, kind of go back, you maybe took notes and summarized everything. This is just a great opportunity. So Ken, without further ado, I just want to thank you. Always, this information is so great, and this is so valuable because, you know, students out there, there's a competitive world, and students need this kind of stuff to really be able to support their own resume and to really build it out. And to end it with one last question, maintaining and sustaining that STEM momentum. So how do we ensure that, you know, we just keep going on this because now it's more important than ever?
yes, this is meant to inspire and recognize the kids. And once the chapter is opened and has a good chapter advisor or two, it just grows and it becomes so much more popular. So it becomes a stalwart. It becomes a rock that you can, as a foundational thing within the school. And more kids are attracted to it. We see the chapters growing, the first year, the second year, the third year, the number of kids involved is increasing. So that's really how the momentum happens. And then again, we want the older kids to help the younger kids. We want the high school kids to help the middle school kids. We want the middle school kids and the high school kids to help the elementary school kids. So a lot of the school systems that are having this whole feeder program nature, that's a big thing to them, that they've got the older kids helping the younger kids. And that's one of the key ways to help the momentum keep going. And I can't emphasize enough, the chapter advisor, the chapter advisor, the chapter advisor. It's so incredible to have the right coach, the right, what we call the STEM champion. That's who we're always looking for. Who are the STEM champions? Who are the people who are passionate about STEM and their kids and wanting their kids to do well in STEM? And those are the people that we're after, that we're out searching for all the time, that can make a difference in the lives of their kids. That's what we're looking for.
I think that's a really great way to kind of end our webinar here, because I think what you've said is so incredibly powerful, is that we have to be these champions, and we have to be able to really help support our students within these fields. So again, if anybody has any questions whatsoever, please don't bother or don't hesitate to reach out to Ken. And then just please look forward to our future webinars as we start to gear up for this. And is there any additional questions or feedbacks or comments, don't hesitate to share them with Amber or myself as well. So with that, Ken, any
Kelly,
closing comments?
Thank you so much. This has been great. Thanks to everybody for listening. And let me know if I can help you. Kelly, I'm so excited about working with you and Amber. We've got a lot of stuff we're going to do together. And it feels great to help move the needle and to help so many kids. Just feels great. So thank you for everything you do. And thank you, Amber.
Thank you. All right, Ken, have a great day. Thank you, everyone.
You too. Take care, everybody. If you just reach out if you'd like to shoot the breeze. Take care now.
Bye.
Bye-bye.